The stars around Kepler 442 had turned into a graveyard of metal and fire. Captain Alex Harper stood on the bridge of the Terran observation vessel, New Dawn, and watched as thousands of alien ships tore each other apart in the endless black of space. The battle had been raging for 3 days now and showed no signs of stopping. Every few seconds another explosion lit up the darkness as another ship died in the war. Between two of the galaxy's most powerful races, Alex rubbed his tired eyes and looked at the tactical display again. The blue dots represented the Zephyrian Empire fleet, while the red dots showed the Corvan collective forces. Both sides had committed everything they had to this fight. The sensor readings showed over 15,000 ships locked in combat across a region of space larger than most solar systems. "Captain, we're getting another transmission from the Zephyrian commander," said Lisa Morgan from her position at the communications console. Her voice carried the strain of 3 days without proper sleep. "He's demanding we leave the system immediately." Alex nodded but didn't take his eyes off the main screen. The Zephyrians were proud warriors who had ruled a quarter of the galaxy for over 1,000 years. Their ships were works of art as much as weapons of war. Each vessel had smooth curves and gleaming surfaces that reflected the light of distant stars. Their hulls were made from some kind of crystalline material that could absorb and redirect energy weapons. "What about the Corvan response?" Alex asked. "Still nothing but that psychic static," Lisa replied. "Chris thinks they're trying to jam our communications." Chris Bailey looked up from his tactical analysis station. The young officer had been tracking the battle patterns for hours. "The Corvan ships are different from anything we've seen before. They look almost alive. Some of them seem to be healing themselves after taking damage." Alex had noticed the same thing. The Corvan Collective was a hive mind that had consumed dozens of star systems as they spread across the galaxy. Their ships didn't look built so much as grown. They had organic curves and surfaces that pulsed with strange lights. When a Corvan ship took damage, other ships would swarm around it and somehow repair the wounds. "How many ships have we lost count of?" Alex asked. "At least 3,000 on each side," Chris answered. "The debris fields are so thick that our sensors can't track everything. Some of those explosions are taking out multiple ships at once." The battle had started when both fleets arrived at Kepler 442 at almost the same time. The system contained rare minerals that both races needed for their war machines. Neither side had been willing to back down, and the fighting had escalated quickly. Now it had become the largest space battle in recorded galactic history. Alex watched as a group of Zephyrian cruisers formed up and launched a coordinated attack on a Corvan bioship the size of a small moon. Their plasma weapons lit up space with brilliant blue light, but the massive creature barely seemed to notice. It responded by releasing thousands of smaller ships that swarmed toward the Zephyrian formation like angry insects. "Sir Admiral Sullivan is requesting another status report," Lisa said. Alex sighed. Earth's military command had been watching this battle with growing concern. Both the Zephyrian Empire and the Corvan Collective had treaties with humanity, but they were hardly friendly. Most aliens saw humans as useful but primitive traitors who could be ignored when real power was at stake. "Tell the Admiral that both sides are still fully committed to the fight," Alex said. "Neither fleet is showing any signs of withdrawing." The truth was that this battle would determine the future of the galaxy. The Zephyrians and Corvans had been rivals for centuries, but had never fought a war this large. Whichever side won would emerge as the dominant power in this region of space. The loser would be too weak to resist conquest. "Captain, look at this," Chris called out. He had been studying the tactical patterns. "The Zephyrians are moving their command ships back. I think they're preparing for something big." Alex turned his attention to the fleet movements. The Zephyrian ships were indeed pulling back into a new formation. Their largest vessels were moving away from the main battle, while smaller ships took up screening positions. "They're charging their main weapons," Lisa reported. "We're picking up massive energy readings from their dreadnoughts." The Zephyrian Empire had built their fleet doctrine around overwhelming firepower. Their largest ships carried weapons that could destroy entire planets. If they were preparing to use those weapons here, the battle was about to become much more deadly. What about the Corvans? Alex asked. They're responding, Chris said. Look at the main bioship. It's starting to split apart. On the main screen, the massive Corvan vessel was indeed dividing into smaller sections. Each piece was still huge, but they were spreading out across the battlefield. Strange lights were pulsing along their surfaces. I think they're preparing to spawn, Lisa said, with disgust. Our intelligence reports say they can create new ships during battle. Alex had read those reports too. The Corvan Collective didn't just build ships in factories like other races. They could grow new vessels from the remains of destroyed ones. It was one of the reasons they had been so successful in their conquest of other star systems. Both sides are escalating, Alex said. This is going to get much worse before it gets better. As if to prove his point, the Zephyrian dreadnoughts opened fire with their main weapons. Beams of concentrated plasma crossed the vast distances between the fleets in seconds. When they struck the Corvan bioships, the explosions were visible, even from the New Dawn's position at the edge of the system, but the Corvans responded immediately. The divided sections of their main ship launched clouds of smaller creatures that moved through space like living missiles. When they reached the Zephyrian formation, they began attaching themselves to the alien ships and eating through their hulls. Dear God, Chris whispered. They're not just fighting. They're trying to completely destroy each other. Alex knew he was right. This wasn't just a battle over territory or resources anymore. Both sides had committed so much to this fight that neither could afford to lose. The winner would rule the galaxy and the loser would face extinction. Send another message to Earth, Alex ordered. Tell them that we're looking at the end of galactic civilization as we know it. One of these fleets is going to win, and when they do, they'll be coming for everyone else. Lisa nodded and began composing the message. Alex turned back to the tactical display and watched as two of the galaxy's greatest powers tore each other apart among the stars. Soon there would be only one left standing, and humanity would have to deal with whatever emerged from this cosmic slaughter. Admiral Jack Sullivan stood in the war room, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, and stared at the holographic display showing the battle at Kepler 442. The underground facility had been built during the early days of human space exploration when Earth's leaders feared alien invasion. Now it served as the command center for humanity's secret military operations. The casualties are getting worse by the hour, said Colonel Maria Santos from her position at the intelligence console. She had been tracking the battle reports from Captain Harper's ship. Both fleets are down to about 60% of their original strength. Jack nodded grimly. He had been watching this conflict develop for months. The Zephyrian Empire and Corvan Collective had been moving toward war for years, but nobody had expected it to explode into something this massive. The entire galaxy was holding its breath to see which side would emerge victorious. What's the latest from our trade partners? Jack asked. The Altarian Republic is staying neutral, but they're terrified, Maria replied. Same with the Centauri. Alliance. Everyone knows that whoever wins this war will be strong enough to conquer the rest of the galaxy. Jack walked over to the tactical display and studied the ship movements. Both alien fleets were using weapons and tactics that had been refined over thousands of years of warfare. The Zephyrians relied on concentrated energy weapons that could punch through almost any defense. The Corvans used organic technology that could adapt and evolve during battle. Sir, Dr. Walsh is here for the briefing, said Lieutenant Danny Clark from the communications station. Send him in, Jack replied. Dr. Kevin Walsh entered the war room carrying a thick folder of technical specifications. The scientist had been working on humanity's secret weapons program for over a decade. His work had been so classified that even most of Earth's government didn't know it existed. Admiral, we've completed the final tests on the Sovereign's weapons systems, Kevin said as he approached the holographic display. The results exceeded all our projections. Jack had been waiting for this report. The Sovereign was humanity's greatest secret, a battleship unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. While the alien races had spent centuries perfecting energy, weapons, and adaptive defenses, human scientists had taken a completely different approach. "Show me the specifications," Jack said. Kevin activated his portable display unit and the war room filled with technical readouts. The Sovereign was massive, nearly 3 kilometers long and built in the hidden shipyards beyond Neptune. Its hull was constructed from layered carbon-titanium composites that could absorb incredible amounts of kinetic energy. The main battery consists of 12 railguns, Kevin explained. Each one can accelerate a 2-ton tungsten projectile to 12% of light speed. The kinetic energy release is equivalent to a small nuclear weapon but without the radiation signature. Maria looked up from her console. "How is that possible?" "Our intelligence says that kinetic weapons are considered primitive by galactic standards." "That's exactly why they'll be so effective," Kevin replied with a slight smile. "The alien fleets have spent centuries developing defenses against energy weapons. Their shields can deflect plasma beams and their armor can absorb laser fire. But they have no defense against a solid projectile moving at relativistic speeds." Jack studied the weapon specifications. The concept was brilliant in its simplicity. While the galaxy had been locked in an arms race between more powerful energy weapons and better defensive systems, humanity had quietly perfected the art of throwing rocks very fast. "What about the secondary armament?" Jack asked. 200 smaller railguns for point defense and precision strikes," Kevin answered, "plus conventional missile systems and defensive countermeasures. The ship can engage multiple targets simultaneously, across vast distances." The briefing continued for another hour as Kevin explained the Sovereign's capabilities. The ship's fusion reactors provided more power than most alien space stations. Its armor could withstand direct hits from the most advanced weapons in the galaxy. Most importantly, its weapons were completely unknown to potential enemies. "There's one more thing," Kevin said as he pulled up another display. "The ship's stealth systems are unlike anything we've built before. Active camouflage combined with heat dissipation technology makes it nearly invisible to conventional sensors." Jack felt a surge of pride at what humanity had accomplished. While the galaxy saw Earth as a peaceful trading partner, they had been quietly building the most advanced warship in known space. The Sovereign represented decades of human ingenuity and determination. "What's the crew status?" Jack asked. "Captain Nicole Adams has been training with her officers for 2 years, Maria replied. 50,000 of Earth's finest military personnel. They're ready for deployment." Jack walked back to the main tactical display and watched the continuing battle at Kepler 442. The 2 alien fleets were tearing each other apart with weapons. That would have been considered impossible just a few centuries ago. But humanity had found a way to make those weapons obsolete. "Sir, we're receiving another transmission from the New Dawn," Danny reported. "Captain Harper says the battle is entering a new phase. Both sides are bringing up their reserve fleets." Jack made his decision. The Terran Council had given him authorization to intervene if the Galactic War threatened human interests. Intelligence reports suggested that whichever side won would likely turn their attention to the resource-rich systems. "Mere soul. Contact Captain Adams," Jack ordered. "Tell her to prepare the Sovereign for immediate deployment to the Kepler 442 system." "Sir, are you sure about this?" Maria asked. "If we reveal our capabilities now, there's no going back. The entire galaxy will know what we're capable of." Jack looked at the tactical display one more time. The 2 most powerful military forces in the galaxy were destroying each other in a battle that would reshape the balance of power among the stars. It was time for humanity to step out of the shadows and take their place as a galactic power. "It's time the galaxy learned that Earth is not as helpless as we appear," Jack said. "Send the orders to Captain Adams. The Sovereign launches in 6 hours. As the staff rushed to carry out his orders, Jack remained standing before the tactical display. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment. They had watched from the sidelines as alien empires rose and fell. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humans were truly capable of when they set their minds to war. The Sovereign would carry humanity's message to the stars, written in tungsten and delivered at 12% of light speed. The Sovereign dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler 442 system like a ghost emerging from the void. Captain Nicole Adams stood on the bridge of the massive battleship and watched as the tactical displays filled with data from the ongoing battle. The ship's sensors were picking up thousands of alien vessels locked in combat across millions of kilometers of space. "My God," whispered Commander Ryan Torres from his position beside the captain's chair. "I've never seen anything like this before." Nicole had to agree. The scale of destruction was beyond anything in human military history. Entire fleets were being wiped out in minutes as both sides threw everything they had into the fight. The sensor readings showed debris fields that stretched across distances larger than most solar systems. "Lieutenant Johnson, plot us a course through the outer debris field," Nicole ordered. "Keep us away from the main battle groups for now." "Yes, ma'am," replied Lieutenant Pete Johnson from the navigation console. His fingers moved quickly across the controls as he calculated a safe path through the wreckage. "We should be able to approach undetected if we stay in the shadow of that destroyed space station." Nicole nodded and turned to her weapons officer. "Lieutenant Colonel Foster, what's the status of our stealth systems?" "All systems operating at peak efficiency, Amy," Foster replied. "The active camouflage is matching the background radiation perfectly. Our heat dissipation units are keeping our signature below detection threshold." The Sovereign moved through the debris field like a predator stalking its prey. The massive ship was nearly invisible to conventional sensors thanks to technology that the galaxy had never seen before. Human engineers had spent decades perfecting stealth systems that could hide something as large as a small city. "Captain, we're picking up communications from both fleets," said the communications officer. "The Zephyrians are coordinating another major assault. The Corvins are responding with what looks like a spawning event." Nicole walked over to the tactical display and studied the battle patterns. The two alien fleets had been fighting for days, but neither side could gain a decisive advantage. The Zephyrian ships were individually more powerful, but the Corvins had superior numbers and could replace their losses during battle. "Chief Parker, how are our systems holding up?" Nicole asked. "All green across the board," replied Lucy Parker from the engineering station. "The fusion reactors are running at optimal efficiency. We have enough power to run every system on the ship at maximum capacity for weeks." The Sovereign's power systems were beyond anything the alien fleets possessed. Human fusion technology had advanced far beyond what the galaxy considered possible. The ship's reactors could generate more energy than most space stations while remaining completely undetectable. "Captain, I'm picking up something interesting," said Brad Coleman from the AI interface console. "The ship's computer has been analyzing the battle patterns, and it's found some weaknesses in both fleet formations." Nicole looked at the data streaming across the displays. The Sovereign's artificial intelligence was more advanced than anything in the galaxy. It could process millions of variables simultaneously and predict battle outcomes with incredible accuracy. "Show me what you found," Nicole said. The tactical display shifted to show the predicted movements of both fleets. The AI had identified several key command ships that were coordinating the battle. If those vessels were eliminated, both fleets would lose their ability to fight effectively. "Interesting," Nicole murmured. "But we're not here to win their war for them. We're here to stop it." The Sovereign continued its silent approach through the battlefield. The ship passed within kilometers of destroyed vessels from both sides without being detected. The alien crews were too focused on their own battle to notice the human vessel moving through their midst. "We're approaching the center of the battle zone," Pete reported. "Both fleet commanders should be within communication range." Nicole had been dreading this moment. In a few minutes she would have to reveal humanity's presence to two of the most powerful military forces in the galaxy. The message she was about to send would change the balance of power among the stars forever. "Lieutenant Colonel Foster, prepare the main battery for demonstration firing," Nicole ordered. Select targets that will get both sides' attention without causing unnecessary casualties. Yes, ma'am, Amy replied. I recommend we target some of the larger debris pieces. The kinetic impact should be visible to both fleets without actually killing anyone, Nicole nodded. The plan was to demonstrate humanity's capabilities without escalating the conflict. If the alien fleets realized what they were facing, they might be willing to negotiate rather than fight. Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Terran observation ship, said the communications officer. Captain Harper is requesting permission to withdraw to a safe distance. Granted, Nicole replied. Tell him to move his ship at least 10 light minutes away from the battle zone. The Sovereign reached the gravitational center of the Kepler 442 system and took up position equidistant from both fleet commanders. The massive human battleship was now surrounded by thousands of alien vessels but remained completely invisible. To their sensors, all stations report ready, Ryan announced. The ship is at full combat readiness. Nicole took a deep breath and walked to the center of the bridge. In a few moments she would speak to the two most powerful military leaders in the galaxy. What she said next would determine whether humanity emerged as a galactic power or remained hidden in the shadows. Open a channel to both fleet commanders, Nicole ordered. Maximum power on all frequencies. The communication system activated and Nicole felt the weight of history on her shoulders. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades. Now it was time to show the galaxy what Earth was truly capable of. This is Captain Nicole Adams of the Terran Federation Battleship Sovereign, she began. I am ordering both fleets to cease hostilities immediately and withdraw to neutral positions. You have 60 seconds to comply. The transmission cut through the chaos of battle like a sword through silk. For the first time in days, the frequency bands fell silent as both sides tried to understand what they had just heard. Nicole looked at the tactical display and watched as thousands of alien ships continued their deadly dance among the stars. In 1 minute, everything would change. The response from War Commander Thexville came first, his crystalline voice crackling with anger across the communication channels. Unknown vessel, you dare interfere in Zephyrian military operations? Identify yourself immediately or face the consequences of your foolishness. Captain Nicole Adams remained calm as she listened to the alien commander's threats. She had expected this reaction from the proud warrior race. The Zephyrians had ruled their corner of the galaxy for over 1,000 years and were not used to being challenged by unknown forces. Captain, we're getting a psychic response from the Corvan fleet, reported the communications officer. It's not words exactly, but our translators are picking up aggressive intent and territorial warnings. Nicole nodded. The Corvan collective communicated through a hive mind that was difficult for individual minds to understand. Their message was clear enough, though. They wanted the human ship to leave immediately or face attack. 50 seconds remaining, announced Commander Ryan Torres from his position at the tactical console. He was tracking the movements of both alien fleets as they continued their deadly battle despite the human ultimatum. Nicole looked at the main display and saw that neither side was showing any signs of backing down. The Zephyrian ships continued to fire their plasma weapons while the Corvan bioships swarmed around them like angry insects. The battle had been going on for so long that both fleets seemed unable to stop fighting. 40 seconds, Ryan called out. War Commander Thexville is demanding that we reveal our ship's location, said the communications officer. He says the Zephyrian fleet will destroy us if we don't comply immediately. Nicole almost smiled at the threat. The Zephyrian commander had no idea that the human ship was sitting right in the middle of his formation. The Sovereign's stealth systems were so advanced that the alien sensors couldn't detect them even at close range. 30 seconds, Ryan announced. The Corvan response was growing more aggressive. The bioships were starting to spread out as if they were searching for the source of the human transmission. Their organic sensors were more sensitive than the Zephyrian technology, but still couldn't penetrate the Sovereign's stealth systems. 20 seconds, Ryan said. Nicole walked over to the weapons console where Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster was preparing the main battery. The 12 massive railguns were charged and ready to fire. Each weapon could accelerate a 2-ton tungsten projectile to 12% of light speed with devastating results. 10 seconds, Ryan called out. Nicole looked around the bridge at her crew. 50,000 of Earth's finest military personnel were waiting for her orders. In a few moments, they would demonstrate to the galaxy that humanity was no longer content to remain in the shadows. Time, Ryan announced. Nicole turned to Amy Foster and spoke a single word. Demonstrate. Amy's fingers moved across the targeting controls with practiced precision. She selected a Zephyrian battlecruiser that was engaged in combat with a group of Coven bioships. The massive alien vessel was over a kilometer long and protected by shields that could deflect the most powerful energy weapons in the galaxy. First target acquired, Amy reported. Firing railgun number 1. The Sovereign's main battery discharged with no visible flash or energy signature. The tungsten projectile left the railgun at incredible speed, crossing the vast distance to its target in seconds. The 2-ton projectile struck the Zephyrian battlecruiser with the force of a small nuclear weapon. The alien ship simply ceased to exist. The kinetic energy of the impact was so great that the entire vessel was vaporized instantly. Where a massive warship had been moments before, there was now only an expanding cloud of metallic dust. Second target acquired, Amy announced as she selected a Corvin bioship of similar size. Firing railgun number 2. The second projectile struck the organic vessel with the same devastating result. The bioship's adaptive armor and regenerative systems were useless against the kinetic impact. Like the Zephyrian cruiser, it was completely destroyed in a fraction of a second across the battlefield. Every ship from both fleets stopped firing. The sudden silence was deafening after days of continuous combat. Alien crews stared at their sensors in disbelief as they tried to understand what had just happened. Both fleet commanders are hailing us, reported the communications officer. They're demanding explanations. Nicole could hear the fear in the alien voices. 2 of their most powerful warships had been destroyed by weapons that their sensors couldn't even detect. The projectiles had moved too fast to track and left no energy signature that could be analyzed. This is Captain Adams of the Terran Federation, Nicole said as she opened a channel to both fleets. You have just witnessed a demonstration of human military technology. We are not your enemies, but we will not allow this conflict to continue. War Commander Thexville's response came immediately. Impossible. No weapon could penetrate our shields without an energy discharge. What trickery is this? The Corvan hive mind's psychic emanations were filled with confusion and growing fear. Their organic sensors had detected the destruction of their bioship, but couldn't identify the source of the attack. There is no trickery, Nicole replied calmly. Human weapons technology has advanced beyond your current understanding. We have been observing this conflict and have decided to intervene. Amy Foster looked up from her targeting console. Captain, should I demonstrate the secondary battery? Nicole nodded. Target some of the larger debris pieces. Show them what our smaller weapons can do. The Sovereign's secondary railguns opened fire on abandoned hulks scattered throughout the battlefield. The smaller projectiles sliced through the wreckage with surgical precision, cutting massive pieces of debris into perfectly straight sections. The demonstration showed that human weapons could destroy anything in space with pinpoint accuracy. Dear gods, whispered War Commander Thexville over the communication channel. What are you? We are humanity, Nicole replied. And we have been watching your war with growing concern. This conflict ends now. The battlefield remained silent as both alien fleets struggled to comprehend what they had witnessed. The humans had weapons that could destroy their most powerful ships without any visible attack. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted. In a matter of seconds, Nicole looked at the tactical display and saw that both fleets were beginning to pull back from their attack positions. The demonstration had achieved its purpose. Now came the difficult part, convincing 2 proud warrior races to make peace. The silence stretched across the battlefield for long minutes as both alien fleets tried to understand what they had witnessed. Captain Nicole Adams stood calmly on the bridge of the Sovereign and watched the tactical displays as thousands of Ships from both sides pulled back from their attack positions. The demonstration had worked better than she had hoped. "Captain, we're receiving priority transmissions from both fleet commanders," reported the communications officer. "They're requesting immediate negotiations," Nicole nodded. The next few hours would determine whether the galaxy entered a new age of peace or descended into an even more destructive war. She had shown both sides that humanity possessed weapons. Beyond their understanding, but convincing them to stop fighting would require careful diplomacy. "Open a channel to Admiral Sullivan on Earth," Nicole ordered. "He needs to be part of these negotiations." The holographic display activated and Admiral Jack Sullivan's image appeared on the bridge. The underground command center on Earth looked small compared to the Sovereign's massive bridge, but Nicole knew that the real decisions would be made there. "Admiral, both fleet commanders are ready to negotiate," Nicole reported. "The demonstration was successful. They've stopped attacking each other." "Excellent work, Captain," Sullivan replied. "I'm prepared to offer both sides a way out of this conflict that allows them to keep their honor intact." The plan that Sullivan outlined was simple but effective. Earth would guarantee the neutrality of the Kepler 442 system and oversee the fair distribution of its mineral resources. Both empires would be allowed to establish mining operations, but under human supervision. More importantly, humanity would serve as mediator for future disputes between the galactic powers. "Sir, War Commander Thexville is requesting permission." "To come aboard?" said the communications officer. "He wants to inspect our ship and meet with our representatives in person." "The Corvan hive mind is sending similar signals," added another officer. "They want to understand our technology." Nicole looked at Admiral Sullivan's image. This was the moment they had been preparing for. If they allowed alien representatives aboard the Sovereign, there would be no hiding humanity's capabilities. Anymore, the secret would be out forever. "Grant both requests," Sullivan said after a moment of consideration. "It's time the galaxy learned what Earth is truly capable of." Nicole gave the orders, and within an hour both alien commanders were being transported to the Sovereign. War Commander Thexville arrived first in a crystalline shuttle that gleamed like a jewel against the backdrop of space. The Corvan representative came in what looked more like a living creature than a spacecraft. The meeting took place in the Sovereign's main conference room, a massive chamber that could hold representatives from dozens of different species. Nicole had ordered the stealth systems deactivated, so both alien fleets could finally see the human battleship in all its glory. War Commander Thexville was exactly what Nicole had expected from a Zephyrian warrior. He stood over 2 meters tall with a crystalline exoskeleton that reflected the room's lights like a prism. His movements were precise and controlled. Showing the discipline of a professional soldier, the Corvan representative was harder to understand. It appeared to be a cluster of organic components that shifted and moved independently while somehow maintaining a unified consciousness. When it spoke, the voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "Your ship is impressive," Thexville said, as he studied the conference room's displays. "But I still do not understand how you destroyed our vessels." "Our sensors detected no energy discharge." Nicole activated a holographic display that showed the basic principles of kinetic weaponry. She explained how the railguns accelerated solid projectiles to incredible speeds without using energy beams or plasma charges. The concept was simple, but the execution required technology that neither empire possessed. "Kinetic weapons are considered primitive by galactic standards," the Corvan representative said through its collective voice. "How did you achieve such devastating effects?" "By approaching the problem differently," Nicole replied. "While your races focused on more powerful energy weapons, we perfected the art of throwing rocks very fast." The explanation continued for several hours as human scientists shared some of their technological innovations with the alien representatives. The visitors were particularly interested in the Sovereign's fusion reactors and stealth systems. Both technologies were far beyond anything in their respective fleets. "This changes everything," Thexville admitted. "The Zephyrian Empire has underestimated human capabilities. We assumed you were a primitive trading species." "Many races have made that mistake," Admiral Sullivan said from the holographic communicator. Humanity prefers peace and commerce, but we are not defenseless. The negotiations that followed established a new framework for galactic relations. Earth would maintain monitoring stations throughout the galaxy to prevent future conflicts between major powers. Human mediators would be available to resolve disputes before they escalated into war. Most importantly, both the Zephyrian Empire and Corvan Collective agreed to respect human territory and shipping. What guarantee do we have that? Earth will remain neutral? Asked the Corvan representative. Your weapons could conquer the galaxy if you chose to use them. Because conquest has never been humanity's goal, Sullivan replied. We want to trade and explore, not rule over others. But we will defend ourselves and our allies if threatened. The formal treaty was signed in the Sovereign's conference room with representatives from dozens of galactic powers, watching via holographic link. The ceremony marked the end of the largest space battle in recorded history and the beginning of a new age of human influence. Among the stars, as the alien representatives prepared to return to their fleets, War Commander Thexville approached Nicole. One final time, Captain Adams, the Zephyrian Empire would be honored to establish formal diplomatic relations with Earth. Your demonstration today showed us that there are still things we can learn. The Corvan representative's response was more complex, involving psychic harmonics that the translation system struggled to interpret. The basic message was clear, though. They too wanted to establish peaceful relations with humanity. Nicole watched from the bridge as both alien fleets began the long journey back to their home systems. The battlefield that had been filled with death and destruction for days was now empty except for the Sovereign and the expanding debris fields. Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the New Dawn, reported the communications officer. Captain Harper is requesting permission to return to Earth. Granted, Nicole replied. Tell him to carry word of what happened here to every human colony and trading post in the galaxy. As the Sovereign began its own journey home, Nicole reflected on what they had accomplished. Humanity had stepped out of the shadows and taken its place as a major galactic power. The quiet species from Sol had shown the galaxy that they possessed both the strength to enforce peace and the wisdom to use that strength responsibly. The stars around Kepler 442 were quiet now, but the message they carried would echo across the galaxy for generations to come.